Well, Baruch Hashem Yahuwah, welcome to another Turtle Chat. Turtle Chat number 4. Of course, today is Yom Shlishi, which is the 8th day and the 12th month. Let's change that. It's the 12th day of the biblical 8th month. The 12th day of the biblical 8th month, Roman November the 3rd. So welcome again to Goshen B'Tzafon. I'm Shaliach Moshe Yosef Konichowski, and we welcome you to our Turtle Side Chat. Praise be to Yahuwah. We enjoyed the morning workout. I had a little workout this morning on the treadmill, and I followed that up with some water, H2O, and now we're here in class, and we have to finish today. We have the Shabbat Reentry, and we did the first 2 parts. We know it's been a blessing to many of our students, but we have to finish it today because there's so many other subjects we can be covering over the next days and over the next weeks that we really do need to conclude it. So let's go right to Yeshayahu, chapter 56, Yeshayahu, chapter 56. And as we always do, we're going to get deep into the Hebrew and then offer our own translation, as I do speak fluent Hebrew. And then we're going to try to finish the teaching today. So gather around, your friends and your family, for our Turtle Side Chat. We try to do this 3-4 times a week, depending on our schedule. Of course, we have Wednesday nights here in community. We have Shabbat live services and a lot of preparation that goes into that. And this week, we have some new technology coming in to upgrade our YouTube live service. So we're going to have our live services on YouTube as well as on our website through Sunday streams, the regular high def, plus the YouTube for other devices such as mobile. But we have some other things we're working on, and we'll update you. But all of these Turtle Chats are in high definition, so that's never a problem. We ended yesterday's broadcast. We kind of got cut off abruptly. We kind of got cut off quickly, and I asked the question, well, where is his house? Because Yahuwah says here in verse number 7, my house shall be called a house of prayer for all peoples. Ki beiti, in Hebrew, ki beiti, beit tefillah yikra, a house of prayer, it shall be called lecholamim. Amim does not mean Gentiles, it means to all nations. So the question is, there's no temple today, there's no altar on Mount Moriah today. We know that the body of Yeshua is the temple of Yahuwah, a habitation of Yahuwah through the Ruach who dwells in the believer, and then corporately through the body of the Commonwealth of Yisrael. But specifically, where is his house? And as I mentioned on yesterday's teaching, we follow the pattern in the book of Maaseh HaRuach, the works of the Ruach, through the Shlichim, the Acts of the Apostles. We see that they knew where the temple was, because Yahuwah prophesied in Isaiah Yeshayahu 56:6, my bayit will be accessible to all people for prayer, intercession, discipleship, and growth and edification in the word of Yahuwah. So where is that house today? Okay, so we see in the book of the Maaseh HaRuach that the house was in believers' homes, and many times in the scriptures that were written to the lost 10 tribes of Israel, not lost from Yahweh's perspective, but man's perspective, where Shaliach Shaul says, greet them who are of Aquila and Priscilla's house. Greet them that are in the house of Stephanos, etc., etc. So we see that they understood that the fulfillment for those re-entering the Commonwealth of Israel, number 1, through the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. Number 2, by showing the first fruits of obedience, Yochanan 14:15, if you love me, you will begin to do more and more of my mitzvot, was ultimately to result in the home, the believers' homes, as the new temple, to house the temple, because the body corporately was the temple of the Ruach, but they needed places to meet that were safe, away from the religious hierarchy of that day, just like today, and as we approach the Great Tribulation. So I ended yesterday's broadcast by saying, where is his house? And Yeshua said, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, in sincerity and ahava, there am I in the midst of them. So wherever Yeshua shows up, he manifests his approval of the believers meeting together in their house. So when Yeshua shows up, we know that he is the Kohen HaGadol. He is the high priest over the Commonwealth of Israel. And as such, his presence signifies a legitimate assembly. His presence, his priesthood, as the Zadokite high priest ministering in the temple not made with hands, his presence, not by might or power, but by his Ruach, Zechariah 4:6, validates the fact that the believers are to meet. Now, many say, well, that's not a commandment. I beg to differ. It took me about 20 years to understand that this is not an option. This is a commandment. Because what the church system does, it says that the book of Maaseh HaRuach is a book that cannot be used for doctrine. It's a historical book of how the true faith metamorphosized from good stuff, metamorphosized from Judaism into the Nazarene Israelite faith. So therefore, they like to divorce themselves from Israel and thus validate their false Gentile identity by saying that the book of Acts cannot be used for doctrine. Well, of course not, because if you use the book of Acts for doctrine, you have to keep Shavuot, you have to keep Sukkot, you have to keep Yom HaKippurim, you have to keep the Shabbat, all these things that the apostles observed, and we see them observing. All the apostles, not just some, not just the ones from the tribe of Judah, all the apostles, we see them observing these things. So naturally, in the seminaries, they're going to say that, the book of Maaseh HaRuach was a transitional historical book. It cannot be used for doctrine. Well, pardon me. All right? It sure can be used for doctrine, because 2 Timothy 3:16 says what? All the Kitvei HaKadosh are profitable for reproof, for correction, for instruction, and for doctrine, that the man of Yahuwah may be thoroughly furnished unto all Tov mitzvah. So we see here Yahuwah says, my house will be called a house of prayer for all nations. So where is a house of prayer? Yeshua tells us, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there am I in their midst. We don't need to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on edifices, synagogues, churches, buildings, storefronts, warehouses. If we want to be humble, if you, especially some of you leaders, want to humble yourselves under the mighty hand of Yahuwah, that he may exalt you in the due seasons, or the seasons of Israel, or the seasons of his time, or the seasons of his ways, okay, not your seasons and your ways. Ways and seasons are always bound, and they're always tied together. Then we have to follow the pattern and meet house to house. Now, there's something called the cell group movement, which kind of gets it somewhat right, but it goes deeper than that. We are to set up our teaching tables, our altars, our Torah scrolls in the house, and invite the believers who are maturing, who are part of the body of Yeshua, into our homes, because Yahuwah said, despite what's going on in the corrupt temple, post Maccabees, for sure, and in the days of Herod, the Herodian temple, which actually was the third temple. Okay, people think there were only 2 temples. There were actually 3. It was not a house of prayer. He wrote the word Ichobad, my esteem has departed from there. And that's why within 40 years of the death, burial, and resurrection of Yeshua, he allowed it to go away. And he expects us to use what he has given us and what he has blessed us with, our residence, our homes, our apartments, for breaking of bread, continuing in Torah, in the apostles' doctrine, and in Chavurah. So our house is really not only your house, it's on loan to you by the Melech HaMelachim for you to use as a sanctuary, as a refuge, as one of the refuges and outposts of Zion. You need to begin to see your home as the house of prayer that Yahuwah was speaking about in Isaiah 56:7 for all nations. So it's not just your home. It is a home that is designated and desired by the Kadosh Abba to be a house of prayer for all nations. Now look at this, verse 8. Thus saith Yahuwah Elohim, or Yahuwah Adonai, who gathers the dispersed of Israel. See? The reason he comes in verse 8, this is our entry point into the Commonwealth of Israel after we're redeemed by the blood of the Lamb. A lot of believers don't know where to start. So Isaiah 56 is our instructions where to start. And once we get this down, meeting in homes on Shabbat, meeting in homes on Shabbat, no longer seeing our homes as homes where we sleep and we can put on the internet, but as outposts of Zion, as the habitation place, the temples where he now wants us to gather away from the religious hierarchy and persecutors of the righteous ones of our day, where we can float and shift around. And when the Great Tribulation comes upon us, they can't lock our doors, they can't lock our facilities, because we're able to move from house to house, because we've been established in that behavior, we've been established in that pattern. Now, it doesn't make for big growth, because people flock to big edifices and big steeples and stained glass windows and very impressive $10,000 pews with 5-inch cushions rather than the folding chairs that you're probably going to have in your home. But that's okay, because the word of Yahweh says, wherever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, and that he that has a broken ruach and a contrite spirit, he will not despise, but he will make one of those houses of prayer, bet tefillot, that he spoke about. Ne'um Adonai Yahuwah. Thus says the Adon Yahuwah. So we see the word Adonai is fine as long as we identify who the Adonai is, like Ezekiel, like Yeshayahu, like Yecheskel. Adonai Yahuwah. If we substitute Adonai for the Tetragrammaton, we are now committing Chilul Hashem, the desecration of the name, by replacing titles, generic titles like Adonai and Elohim for Yahweh. But like we see Isaiah do it, we can do it as well. Ne'um Adonai Yahuwah. Thus says the Adonai, or the Adon Yahuwah. Mekabetz Nidchei Yisrael. The one who has promised to bring back both houses of Israel, Mekabetz Nidchei Yisrael, to gather the dispersed of Israel. So the ones that he wants keeping his Shabbat, back in verses 4, in verses 2, in verses 3, who should cease their confession that they are separate from his people, that they are alienated from his people, that need a renewal of the mind through teachings like this for you to see that you are part of the Commonwealth of Israel. And when you see yourself as part of the olive tree and not a dried tree, and you begin verse 2, Isaiah Yeshayahu 56, verse 4, Yeshayahu 56, to enter the covenant and begin your walk in the covenant between you and Yahuwah on the Shabbat, going house to house, following the apostles' doctrine and pattern, then Yahuwah says that will be my formula for the Mekabetz Nidchei Am Yisrael, for the dispersed of Israel. Now, at the time of Isaiah, Judah had not yet been dispersed, Benjamin, Judah, and Levi. So obviously in the context here, he's talking about the house of Joseph, or the house of Israel, also known collectively by the largest tribe, Ephraim. The 10 tribes are not Ephraim. Let me say that again. A lot of people get confused. The 10 tribes are not Ephraim, okay? But it is a collective term for the largest tribe, just like the house of Judah in the south had 3 tribes, Benjamin, Levi, and Yehuda, but they collectively, for simplicity, became known as Beit Yehuda, or the house of Judah, because they were the largest one. So he says that in the day when I gather back through my son, my Yeshua, how do we know that this is going to be through Yeshua? We go back to verse 1. We began that in part 1. You should have seen the other parts by this time. You should have taken the time to review them. We start off right in the first verse where Yahuwah says, Ki karavo Yeshuati, Isaiah 56:1, because my Yeshua is near. You see, my Yeshua is near to come, and when he comes, he'll be near to you house to house. He'll be near to you whenever 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, and he'll be near to you, though you are far from him, All right, Daniel 9:7. You those far away from Jerusalem. The 10 tribes are Hebraically, idiomatically called those who are far from Jerusalem. Judah, when they're exiled and they're scattered, are called those who are near. They're still exiled. They're still wandering from Yahuwah, and they're still wandering from Eretz Yisrael, the land of Israel. But they're said to be near. You see, their exile is nearer because some parts do Torah, other parts are still somehow plugged into their Jewishness or their Hebraic heritage. But the ones who completely became Nakru, all right, completely paganized and completely alienized, Nacharim, the Hebrew for aliens, in case you're wondering, Nacharim, okay? And most of you listening to this teaching, to this Turtle Side chat, were Necharim before Yeshua brought you back because you were the dispersed of Israel. You were the Mekabetz, Nidchei Yisrael. And so this is what he expects once he gathers you. He expects you to renew the covenant, do what Yeshua did, keep his Shabbat, keep his feasts, follow his halakha, his ways. Od ekabetz elav lenikabtzav. He says, but beside the 10 tribes, notice, Od ekabetz alav. I'm looking at verse 8. Yeshayahu 56:8. Mikabetz nidchei Yisrael. Od akabetz, but also I will gather elav, to him. Who's to him? To Yeshua. The Father will draw others in addition to the 10 tribes to him, linnekabtzav, to those who are being gathered. So we know that's the house of Judah. We know those are the non-Jewish and non-Israelite DNA. They have no Israelite blood. They don't belong by blood to either house, either the house of Joseph or the house of Judah. So, but beside the ingathering that will all begin in the same place, keeping Shabbat in the house of prayer. Where is the house of prayer? It's your apartment. It's your house. And Yeshua said, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, that means you need to open your home and invite other believers to come into your home to establish and continue in the biblical pattern that was begun in the book of Acts. Okay? And who are going to be showing up in these homes, these houses of prayer, where Yeshua shows up, even if there's only 2 or 3, away from the religious edifices, the synagogues and the churches of modern man? He tells you, those are going to be the returning 10 tribes who come back to Israel through the blood of atonement, the keporah of our high priest, Melchizedek, or the Zadokite high priest, the true rightful Zadokite high priest. We know Yeshua was born from both Judite and Levite blood. We've done a teaching on that. You need to look it up on YouTube. It's archived. It's called Yeshua the Zadokite. So he inherits the throne of Judah through Judah, and he inherits the Zadokite priesthood through Levi. Okay? He's both. He is both. But there are others beside those from the 2 houses that are gathered together to him. Those would be those that have the few remaining that have no Israelite blood. It doesn't matter. They also will be grafted in to the olive tree. Notice the olive tree of Romans chapter 11 is not Jewish. It's Israel. And the branches that abide in unbelief remain cut off. The branches that abide in faith get back in. And anybody who joins Israel through Yeshuati, verse 1, through my salvation, will also be gathered. In other words, Yahuwah is going to gather the 2 houses of Israel, but he's not going to forget about others. Okay? So this is not bloodline theology or bloodline salvation. It is the biblical fact of the greatness of Yahuwah as a covenant keeper, not only to rescue those that don't want any part of him and that betrayed him, but also to gather others to him. Verse 9, all the beasts of the field come to devour. All the beasts in the forest. Kol chatau shadai etav lechol kol chatau beyafar. Meaning all the beasts will stop you. All the beasts are pagans, Gentiles. They will try to stop you from obeying the pattern and from following the formula. These are beasts. They've come to devour. They want you to remain comfortable in your former understanding that you were a Gentile, where Yahuwah has come to renew your mind and to show you the way to walk out of that old ID and understanding back into the great Kabetz Nidche Amo Yisrael. You see? Verse 10. So you're going to have a lot of opposition in your return, in case you hadn't noticed. Okay? Some Christians would rather, and some of unbelievers would rather have you be a drug addict and alcoholic than be a Hebrew lover of the Savior. See? Those are the beasts that have come to devour. So we have opposing forces. We have the Ruach gathering, and we have the beasts that want to continue to keep you scattered and, in a best case scenario, in religious edifices that break the apostolic pattern. His watchmen are blind, without knowledge. Verse 10. They're dumb dogs. They cannot bark. Raving, lying down, loving to slumber. So even the watchmen of Israel are not awake. And they're allowing Israel to remain in their Gentile identity without proclaiming the truth. The watchmen are asleep, and the pagans and the religions of the world are going to do everything they can to oppose your return. Verse 11. Yes, the dogs are greedy. Those are the Gentiles. See, those who return to the covenant, who are no longer aliens, who choose the Shabbat, who Yishmeru et Shabtotai, verse 4, are no longer dogs. They're no longer aliens. But the dogs are greedy. They want to keep you in their fold. Hello, verse 11. Look, don't look at me. Look at Isaiah. You should be having your scriptures out. I don't know why your scriptures are not out. Isaiah 56:11. The dogs are greedy. They don't want to let you go. They want to keep you in their fold. They have to pay the mortgage. All these bondages that were used to set up the religious edifice, and then you walk right into that. Now you're part of the solution of keeping it up. Pressure. They know not when they have enough, see? And the shepherds that cannot understand, they turn to their own way, each one to his own means of gain, once and for all. So they don't want to let you go. The dogs don't want to let you go. The pastors and shepherds cannot understand. We just finished preaching a conference. The elders and the pastors with all these titles didn't understand one word I said. They thought we were being condescending, that we were trying to convert them, that we were telling them they weren't good enough. We were telling them just the opposite. You're not dogs, you're Israelites. You're not pigs, you're Israelites. Stop belittling and demeaning yourself. We're not here to belittle you. We're here to challenge you to see yourself as Yahweh sees you. But it says in Isaiah 56:11, the pastors won't get this. So when the pastors and the leaders and the watchmen are asleep, what does Yahweh do? He goes right to the people. The haklavim, the dogs, azeh nefesh, are greedy for souls. Notice, they're greedy for souls. Those who do not understand their Israelite identity. Lo yadu shava. They don't know when they've had enough of the Gentile nonsense. Vehameraim. These are velo yadu havin. They are shepherds who do not understand. Lo yadu, they do not know havin, they do not know knowledge, they don't know understanding. Kulam ledarcham panu, each one has gone his own way. Ish libtso maksehu, each pastor looks for his own benefit, for his own agenda. Yahweh looks for his agenda to have you prosper, not outside of the Commonwealth of Israel, but within the confines of the Commonwealth of Israel. I'll say that again. Religious leaders are upset that you are accepting this message. They think you've gone into a cult. Why? Because they're looking out for their own gain. They're looking out for their own agenda. They don't want you returning as a Shabbat keeper and as someone who holds fast to his brit, to his covenant. Verse 12, come, fetch wine. We will fill ourselves with strong drink. Tomorrow will be as today and abundant. So in other words, they want you to continue tomorrow, even as you are today, drunk without understanding to the way he wants you to walk after you've received redemption. We all understand how to receive redemption, but we can't go to the shepherds who are looking out for their own gain, their own agenda. They don't want to let you go. And the watchmen of Israel are also asleep. So it has to be the Ruach dealing with you, showing you that the excuses and all these things have to stop. We must begin to look for home communities, home assemblies, and begin our prosperous return, our bountiful return to the Commonwealth of Israel by taking hold of the Shabbat and renewing the covenant of obedience. If you love me, you'll keep my commandments. And this is the starting point. And in the Hebrew verse 12, Etav echayayin, we're going to get wine, v'nizbah sheker, and we will fill ourselves with lies and strong drink. V'hayu kazem yomu machar, it'll always be the same. We'll always be Gentiles and go to church on Sunday. We're always going to be Jews without Messiah. We're always going to wait for the Messiah. Who knows if he's ever going to come? Well, if you start accepting the commandments, receive Yeshua, the living Torah by faith, start keeping the commandments, keeping Shabbat in communities, in the home, for it is written, my house. I don't know about their houses, those shepherds that don't understand, that are greedy for more what? More Gentiles. Okay? That's what they're greedy for. Because Gentiles lack understanding about how we're expected to behave as Shomer Shabbos. But when you understand, you must come out from those systems, and you must realize that the abundance is not in continuing in the way things were yesterday and tomorrow, when you were drunk with the wine of the world and the wine of religion. But now we are to come out and to drink of the new wine that he has prepared for us before the foundation of the world. So praise Yahuwah. We pray you will share this teaching, this last teaching about the reentry point. Many of you would sign up for school. After 1 year, you'll get a certificate. After 2 years, you'll get another certificate. And we'll keep on honoring you as you study with us. So from all of us at Goshen B'Tzafon in McClenny, Florida, we'll be back with you real soon. And we praise Yahuwah for this wonderful, wonderful insight he's given us over the past 3 days in another Turtle Side chat. All right? You learned a lot, didn't you? Tov, tov, tov. Shalom, and y'all take care.